Hello and welcome to Waylander's Wandering, where today I'm going to be showing you how I achieve beautiful hot flame effects without an airbrush, just using normal paints and a couple of easily transferable techniques. So to start off, when we're doing flame effects, the first thing you need to do is have everything else painted first. So here we are with my Marvel Crisis Protocol war machine that I've already painted, and we just have these jets on his base to get finished. What we're going to start off with is a good all over covering on the white part with Citadel contrast Imperial Fist. Now don't worry too much if you get any of this Imperial Fist on areas that aren't well, the white bits, because they're going to be covered a little bit later anyway, so trying to be, slightly careful and not get anywhere else. What we'll do is go all over this with the Imperial Fist, not worrying at all about pooling, but what we want to do is make sure that every little bit of the white has the yellow on it. This will give us a nice solid base coat to work off of. And because of the way this dries, I would definitely be giving this another coat. So I will crack on and bring you chaps back once the second coat is on and dried. So here we are at the stage where we've got the flames nicely base coated in the yellow, which I did 2 coats of the Imperial Fist contrast, which gives us a nice vibrant base to work off for the rest of the miniature. Now there are 2 things to remember with light and flame effects. First, of course, is the source of the flame is going to be the hottest. In this case it will be the jets, or rocket boosts coming out of War Machine's boots. So these will be the hottest and the brightest colour. And again, some of that will translate into this part of the flame at the bottom, where it boils up. And the second one is what is called the inverse square rule, where the brightness at any given point, say the brightness here, we'll call this 1, and if we move out to 2, it will only be a quarter as bright, and if we move out to 4, it will only be a 16th as bright, and so on and so forth. So it's an inverse square, which basically means we overbrush and give some object source lighting, so this heat and light will be lighting at the top of the base, because light travels in straight lines, the top of the boots, and at least to some extent the inside of the leg here from this rocket jet, but we won't be flooding it and obscuring the work we've already done. Now to get these colours, instead of using an airbrush, we will be using dry brushing techniques, and we will be using colours from this selection, starting off with Uriel Yellow, Trollslayer Orange, Wild Rider Red, Evil Sun Scarlet, Mephiston Red, Corn Red, and finally Corvus Black, to give sort of a smoke effect on the very outside edge, just to darken up and define those edges. We may not use all of them, we may use all of them, but what we'll do is I'll wet my dry brush in here, get most of the water off using this piece of tissue so that it is cool, not wet, on the back of your hand. You'll be able to see if you're losing wetness rather than just a cool pad. I'll give this Uriel Yellow a bit of a shake. Take about that much end of your brush, work it into the bristles on your hard palette or texture palette. Try not to use a tissue for this because it will just suck all the moisture out. And then starting on the flames, just dry brush across the flames. And whilst you won't get much of an effect on this part, what you will do is start leaving heat and light onto the boots and the areas of the base closest to the miniature. I'm going to try and get all of this done without faffing about and doing cuts. If there are cuts, it's because it's taking a bit long, and there's quite a bit. So once this is done quite quickly, we'll quickly move on to the Troll Slayer Orange. Again, without cleaning the brush, about that much on the end of your brush. Work as much of it off as we can onto there, and again very lightly dry brush over, getting some on the boots and the leg because this is the OSL, and onto the base again where we're going to get some brightness and some object source lighting. The idea is to work this quite quickly, and now we're moving on to the Waylander Red. Again, a little bit on the end of the brush, work the excess off onto your palette and lightly dry brush, and away we go. And as you can see now, we're actually getting a heat and a lovely effect of the heat onto where the explosion is, so it's getting quite nice now. Use some scarlet, tiny bit on the brush, a little bit less than previous layers, maybe about that much. Again, work as much of it off your brush as you can, but not to the point where it's, you're going to get no effect. Dry brush over, trying to hit slightly less than the previous coats. Now at this point we can move straight onto the black if you like, but I'm going to go for the Mephiston anyway because it's a little bit richer than the Waylander. Tiny little bit on the end. Clean your brush off. Quick dry brush all over, and I'll have a look now. So we've got a nice flame effect, got some on the base which is hitting the light there, a reasonable bit on the legs and boots so that it's showing that the heat and light are travelling up. So what we'll do now is hit it on top with this Corvus Black, which, as you'll know, is a kind of a, well, an off black, a very dark grey, and we'll work that in to our bristles. And this one we will just try to very lightly touch the upper surfaces of the flame and the jet stacks there, the rocket flame stacks, I don't know what to call them. Try not to get any on the excess areas this time, and get that in there. And I think that is pretty much it. So in a very short period of time we've gone from the very bright contrast paint of the Imperial Fist yellow, run through a selection of reds, oranges and yellows to highlight it up, and finished with the Corvus Black to give a dark edge and a sort of smoky effect. And I think you'll agree that that is a really nice finish. All that's left to be done with this miniature is a nice rim job where we'll get a nice couple of 3 coats of Abaddon Black on there just to tidy it up, and there we go. That is how I achieve some beautiful flame effects with a lot of heat and depth in very little time without an airbrush. I hope you find this video useful, and the techniques are transferable to any flame effect. They don't have to be in the yellows and red spectrum. You can do magical flames in greens and blues and whatever colours you like. Yeah, so I've been Waylander. You've been most fantastic. If you like this kind of thing, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get some notifications. I've been Waylander. You are wonderful, beautiful people. I love your faces, and goodbye.